In this unit, we're going to talk about energy, specifically how plants make their own energy and how animals have to consume food to produce energy. So that's the difference between an autotroph and a heterotroph. So plants and other types of organisms are able to use that light energy from the sun, and they produce their own food. So that's what an autotroph is. Heterotrophs, like ourselves and other animals, have to consume food, and then our body, specifically the mitochondria, is going to produce energy. Energy comes in many different forms. So when you're looking around, especially when you get into like the physics and things like that, you'll talk about heat energy, light energy, electrical energy. But also energy can be found in chemical compounds. When we talk about the energy that we get to fuel our houses, we can get nuclear energy, and that's just breaking chemical bonds. So the type of energy you guys use in your cells is called ATP, and this is the basic energy source for cells, and ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate not only releases energy, but it also stores energy. So for your test, you're going to have to know the parts of an ATP. It consists of this adenine, which is a nitrogen base. You have ribose, which is a type of sugar, and it's a 5-carbon sugar. And you can see the molecule, it's designed the way it is because it has the 5 carbons on each side. And then you get the triphosphate because it has 3 phosphates at the end of it. Now, we talked about ATP is the molecule that produces energy. Now, how this does is we talked about chemical compounds hold energy. So when you look at these 3 phosphates, they are all held together by a chemical bond. Now, when you break that bond between the second and third phosphate groups, it is going to release a large amount of energy. And that's how your cells get that energy, through those breaking of the chemical bonds. Now, you also have a molecule, after that chemical bond is broken, you have what is called ADP. ADP stands for adenosine diphosphate, because instead of having the 3, the triphosphate, after it breaks that bond and releases that phosphate, it is now goes to adenosine diphosphate with the 2 phosphate groups. Now, your cell is very efficient because it can store small amounts of that energy in the ADP, but then it can produce the ADP and it can add another phosphate group back onto it and turn it into ATP again. And here's the cycle that I'm talking about. So you have your adenosine triphosphate up top and you have the 3 phosphate groups. You're going to break that bond and it produces energy. This is going to now produce ADP. You have your adenosine, ribose, and 2 phosphate groups. Your body has the free phosphates, so what it does, it's going to grab one of those free phosphates and put it back on ADP, and now we start the cycle back over. Your body always requires energy, so it's necessary for your body to always be able to produce this ATP from the ADP. Now, we talked about energy, so what do you have to have energy for? So ATP is used for that active transport that we talked about last chapter. So things have to move in and out of your cells from a low concentration to high concentration. The active transport that requires energy is going to be the ATP. You also have to have energy to produce the proteins, and we know the proteins are one of the most essential parts of your body, and you have to have ATP to produce those proteins. You know that if any vigorous exercise or any exercise, you have to have ATP. We're going to get into cellular respiration. We'll kind of talk about that fatigue. What fatigue really is your body is not making ATP fast enough, and then that builds up that lactic acid in your muscles. We'll get more into that in cellular respiration. And then pretty much all metabolic reactions that take place in your body have to have energy. We've talked about, you hear people talk about metabolism. Some people have a faster metabolism, And what that means is it's just using up that energy faster, and your energy in your cells, is a calorie. So that's why when people say they have a fast metabolism, it's because they're burning those calories a little bit faster. Now, in your cells, you only have a small amount of ATP. So your cells, like I said, they're very efficient, and they always have to regenerate the ATP from that ADP. And you have to consume foods, such as glucose, to be able to do that.